From 1959 to 1963, Dennis the Menace delighted audiences with its light-hearted comedy and the unforgettable antics of young Dennis Mitchell, whose innocent mischief often drove poor Mr. Wilson to the edge. With its mix of humor, charm, and family-friendly storytelling, the series became one of television's most beloved classics of the early 60s. Generations grew up laughing at Dennis's adventures, making the show a timeless favorite. But over 6 decades later, fans still ask what became of the cast who brought these characters to life. In 2025, some actors went on to long careers in Hollywood, others chose quieter lives, and a few left behind enduring legacies. Join us as we revisit the cast of Dennis the Menace. Then and now. Herbert Anderson was born on March 30, 1917, in Oakland, California, and was 42 years old when Dennis the Menace premiered in 1959, taking on the role of Henry Mitchell, the calm, bespectacled father whose understated humor and moral steadiness anchored the series. Henry Mitchell was the quintessential all-American dad, patient and tolerant, yet constantly grappling with the chaos of his mischievous son, creating a tension between discipline and indulgence that resonated with audiences and elevated the show beyond simple slapstick comedy. Anderson's childhood was fraught with hardship. Growing up in a modest household during the Great Depression, he witnessed his parents struggle to make ends meet, endured teasing and ostracization at school for his introverted nature, and learned to mask vulnerability with humor and intelligence. Entering Hollywood, he faced the often brutal realities of the studio system, contending with typecasting career stalls and occasional disputes with producers who demanded conformity to narrow television archetypes. Although Anderson maintained a reputation for professionalism, he quietly struggled with the pressure of sustaining a public image while managing personal health crises, including heart disease, that would later precipitate his retirement in 1982. His private life was tranquil, yet marked by the sacrifices of a long marriage, the gradual fading of stardom, and the existential frustration of being remembered for a single beloved role. Anderson passed away on June 11, 1994, at age 77, from complications following a stroke in Palm Springs, leaving behind an estate valued at approximately $1 million, a modest sum, reflecting a career that prioritized integrity and craft over financial opportunism. Despite never courting scandal, Anderson's legacy endures as a model of early television paternal archetypes, influencing the portrayal of on-screen fathers for decades, and reminding audiences of a gentler, patient approach to fatherhood amidst the chaos of suburban life. Gloria Henry was born on April 2, 1923, in New Orleans, Louisiana, and was 36 years old when she began portraying Alice Mitchell Dennis's patient and resourceful mother in Dennis the Menace. Alice Mitchell embodied the idealized mid-century maternal figure, elegant, nurturing, and wise, balancing the tumult of her son's energetic misadventures with a blend of humor, grace, and authority that endeared her to audiences and made her a role model for television mothers. Henry's own childhood was marred by financial insecurity, early familial losses, and the pressures of growing up in a city still grappling with racial and social disparities, which instilled in her a sense of independence and emotional resilience. Her post-show career was challenged by typecasting, limited opportunities for mature actresses, and the slow diminishment of public attention, forcing her to navigate Hollywood's structural biases while simultaneously managing complex family dynamics, including 2 divorces, and the struggle to maintain close relationships with her children, who did not always embrace the image of perfection she projected on screen. Despite a public persona of composure, Henry confronted the tension between audience perception and private reality, dealing with personal grief, professional disappointment, and the gradual erosion of opportunities afforded to women in mid-20th century television. She passed away peacefully on April 3, 2021, one day after her 98th birthday, leaving a net worth estimated at $1.5 million derived from decades of acting in television commercials and film. Her enduring influence lies not only in her iconic portrayal of maternal warmth, but also in the subtle reminder of the personal costs endured by performers navigating Hollywood's gendered and ageist constraints, making her story both a celebration of artistic achievement and a cautionary tale of systemic inequities. Jay North, born August 3, 1951 in Hollywood, California, was only 8 years old when he assumed the titular role of Dennis Mitchell in Dennis the Menace in 1959, embodying the mischievous yet innocent child whose antics became a cultural touchstone of early television. Dennis's exuberance and charm belied the darker truths of North's life, behind the scenes, subjected to severe emotional and physical mistreatment by his guardians and the show's producers. He endured strict regimens to maintain his blonde hair, grueling work schedules, and inadequate compensation, receiving only $500 per episode without residuals, an injustice that compounded the psychological toll of child stardom. North's adolescence and early adulthood were marked by rebellion, substance struggles, and repeated attempts to transition into adult acting roles, all frequently thwarted by typecasting, legal battles over financial exploitation, and lingering trauma from his formative years. His personal relationships were equally fraught. Romantic entanglements were intermittent and unstable, while estrangements from family compounded his sense of isolation. North's most profound struggle was reconciling the innocence he represented on-screen with the exploitation and abuse he suffered off-screen, leading him to advocacy work later in life to protect child actors from similar fates. He passed away on April 6, 2025, at age 73, with the cause of death remaining undisclosed, leaving behind a net worth of approximately $500,000. His legacy is complex, while Dennis Mitchell symbolized youthful joy for millions. North's lived experience revealed the systemic cruelty and exploitation of Hollywood's studio system, making his eventual advocacy a bittersweet testament to resilience and reform. Gail Gordon, born February 20, 1906 in New York City, joined Dennis the Menace in 1962 at age 56 as John Wilson, the irascible brother of George Wilson, whose cantankerous humor and sharp wit made him an unforgettable presence in the neighborhood. John Wilson's character was a complex blend of exasperation, theatrical flair, and subtle tenderness, creating a foil to Dennis's relentless mischief and elevating the comedy beyond mere slapstick. Gordon's childhood was far from easy. Raised in a working-class family, during the early 20th century, he endured financial hardships and the emotional strain of a distant father and a strict, overbearing mother. He often faced ridicule at school for his height and nascent theatrical tendencies, which he learned to conceal under a veneer of stoicism, sharpening both his wit and observational skills. His career in radio and television was extensive, but not without turbulence. He repeatedly battled typecasting, often playing grumpy authority figures, and at one point lost a major pilot role due to network executives' perception that he was too old to carry a show. Gordon's off-screen personality reflected the tension between discipline and temper. Though professionally meticulous and admired for his timing, he was known for sudden outbursts that intimidated colleagues, and his private life included bouts of depression and health struggles exacerbated by decades of relentless work. Married for decades and generally scandal-free, he nevertheless endured the emotional toll of seeing younger actors eclipse his fame while maintaining a fierce loyalty to his craft. Gordon passed away on June 30, 1995, at age 89 from lung cancer in Borrego Springs, California. At the time of his death, his estate was estimated at $2 million, accumulated through decades of radio and television work. Smart investments and residuals, cementing him as one of the most respected and influential figures in mid-century American comedy, whose legacy endures well beyond his role in Dennis the Menace. Sarah Segar, born July 1, 1914 in Greentown, Indiana, appeared on Dennis the Menace in 1962, at age 48, as Eloise Wilson, John Wilson's cheerful and supportive wife, who tempered the neighborhood's chaos with warmth, intelligence, and understated wit. Eloise was a subtle yet essential presence on the show, her gentle authority and comedic timing complementing her husband's sharp temper and adding depth to the family dynamic, making her character both relatable and enduring in audience memory. Segar's childhood was characterized by modest means and a family navigating economic instability, which instilled resilience, independence, and a drive for artistic expression. She began in theater before transitioning to television, building a career marked by steady work, but also frustrations common to women over 40 in Hollywood, including age discrimination and the loss of roles to younger performers. Her most significant career setback was being passed over for a major television series in favor of an emerging younger actress, a blow that challenged her confidence but did not deter her professionalism. Off-screen, Segar lived a largely scandal-free life, married to actor Ezra Stone, with whom she had 2 children, though she faced the quiet pressures of balancing family with a demanding industry. Later, life brought health challenges and the emotional toll of losing contemporaries, yet she maintained grace and dignity until her death. Segar died on August 12, 1990, at age 76, from a cerebral hemorrhage, leaving an estate valued around $800,000, reflecting both her careful management of earnings and her enduring contributions to television. Her role on Dennis the Menace, brief yet memorable, remains a cherished part of the series' legacy, illustrating her skill at bringing warmth, humor, and humanity to supporting characters while navigating the often harsh realities of Hollywood. Joseph Kearns, born February 12, 1907 in Salt Lake City, became an iconic television figure at age 52 when he was cast as George Wilson in Dennis the Menace in 1959, portraying the perpetually exasperated curmudgeonly neighbor whose stern demeanor concealed a profoundly tender heart. George's interactions with Dennis defined the show's tension and comedic appeal, a man constantly thwarted by mischief, yet unambiguously protective of the child's well-being, creating a balance of humor, warmth, and moral guidance that resonated with audiences. Kearns's own childhood was austere and complicated. Raised in a household with limited financial stability and under strict parental expectations, he learned early to mask emotions and navigate ridicule, cultivating the reserve and discipline that later defined his performances. Before television fame, Kearns honed his craft in radio theater and music, yet faced persistent professional challenges, typecasting limited, high-profile opportunities, and the precariousness of sustaining a long-term career in entertainment during a period of rapid industry change. Off-screen, he was meticulous and private, reportedly displaying a perfectionist and sometimes controlling nature in professional settings, though he avoided scandals and legal troubles. Kearns's health, however, became a hidden vulnerability. He was reportedly sensitive to diet and stress, which may have contributed to his sudden cerebral hemorrhage on February 17, 1962, at age 55. Despite a modest net worth of under $500,000, his cultural impact far outweighed his financial estate, cementing George Wilson as a beloved television archetype. His death left a void in Dennis the Menace, underscoring the challenge of replacing a figure whose stern exterior and hidden warmth had been central to the show's dynamic. Kearns's legacy is that of a consummate professional, a performer whose depth and authenticity brought enduring life to a character who could have been one-dimensional, shaping the portrayal of adult figures in children's television for decades. Sylvia Field, born February 14, 1901, in Allston, Massachusetts, joined Dennis the Menace at age 58 in 1959, playing Martha Wilson, the gentle maternal and perceptive wife of George Wilson, whose calm, nurturing demeanor tempered her husband's gruffness and created a household of warmth and subtle humor. Martha's presence offered a moral compass and emotional grounding in the series, allowing viewers to see the impact of kindness, patience, and sagacious guidance in the midst of daily childhood chaos, making Field's performance indispensable to the show's appeal. Field's own upbringing was far from idyllic. She experienced a strict and sometimes cold household environment with limited material resources, which taught her to navigate social scrutiny, suppress vulnerability, and develop resilience that later informed her professional composure. Her career spanned decades in theater and television, yet was peppered with setbacks, including typecasting periods of unemployment and critical disregard despite her professionalism and talent. Off-screen, she was married to actor Ernest Truex, and though the marriage endured, it involved navigating complex interpersonal dynamics and the pressures of public attention. Field remained discreet, avoiding scandal, yet facing private challenges of balancing career ambitions and domestic life. She was known to be intensely private and meticulous, sometimes creating tension on set due to her high standards, though colleagues respected her craft and dedication. Field lived to an advanced age, passing away on July 31, 1998, at 97 in California, leaving behind an estate estimated at $1.5 million, accumulated from a lifetime of consistent work in entertainment. Her legacy endures through her portrayal of Martha Wilson, a figure of grace, patience, and understated humor, whose ability to convey warmth and maternal insight made her a cherished presence in television history, influencing portrayals of adult female archetypes in family-centered programming for generations. Jeannie Russell, born October 22, 1950, in Pasco, Washington, was only 9 years old when she joined Dennis the Menace as Margaret Wade, the sharp-tongued, precocious, and often scheming young girl who served as both foil and friend to Dennis. Margaret's character resonated with audiences as a realistic depiction of childhood rivalry, blending cleverness with mischief and offering a female counterpart to Dennis's chaos. Russell's early life, though seemingly blessed by her early entry into television, was marked by the pressures of child stardom. She grew up navigating the constant expectations of performance while concealing her vulnerabilities, including the emotional strain of living apart from typical peer experiences and coping with public scrutiny at a tender age. Her career was fraught with challenges common to child actors, including typecasting audition rejections and the looming threat of fading relevance as she matured. Rumors and gossip occasionally touched her personal life, including speculation about secret relationships and her sexuality, though she consistently maintained privacy and avoided scandal. Transitioning out of acting, she became a chiropractor, establishing a stable professional life, while maintaining her connection to fans through conventions and retrospectives. Despite avoiding major controversies, she experienced the subtle but persistent challenges of reconciling early fame with adult identity, the social isolation of leaving Hollywood, and occasional health and family pressures. As of 2025, she is 74 years old, living a quiet life with an estimated net worth of $670,000 derived from acting residuals convention appearances, and her second career preserving her legacy as one of television's most memorable child stars and the enduringly mischievous Margaret Wade. Irene Tedrow, born August 3, 1907 in Denver, Colorado, was 52 when she took on the role of Mrs. Elkins in Dennis the Menace. In 1959, portraying the prying yet well-intentioned neighbor whose nosy interference often collided comically with Dennis's whirlwind energy. Tedrow's Mrs. Elkins was both a foil and a confidant in the neighborhood microcosm, offering viewers a lens into domestic comedy while adding subtle layers of social commentary on the period's suburban norms. Tedrow's early years were a mixture of cultural enrichment and personal adversity. Her family struggled financially during the Great Depression, and her intellectual pursuits were sometimes derided by relatives who saw women's ambitions as frivolous. Transitioning from radio and stage to television, Tedrow faced a male-dominated entertainment industry and endured repeated typecasting, yet she navigated it with professionalism and a meticulous commitment to craft. Though she avoided public scandals, there were unspoken tensions with directors who found her meticulous approach time-consuming, and she quietly contended with career disappointments, including roles she was forced to relinquish due to scheduling conflicts or network politics. Tedrow's personal life was stable but private, and she poured energy into mentoring younger actresses, leaving an educational and cultural footprint. She died on March 10, 1995, at age 87 from complications following a stroke. Her estate was modest, estimated at $1.2 million, reflecting decades of diligent work in stage radio and television. Tedrow's legacy lies in her versatility, professionalism, and the intellectual rigor she brought to roles that might otherwise have been dismissed as minor, establishing her as a quietly powerful force in mid-century American entertainment. Mary Wickes, born June 13, 1910 in St. Louis, Missouri, was 49 when she stepped into the role of Miss Esther Cathcart in Dennis the Menace in 1959, embodying the archetype of the scolding, sharp-tongued authority figure who both terrifies and amuses viewers. Her portrayal went beyond mere comedy. She infused Cathcart with layers of vulnerability and suppressed longing, creating a character who resonated with audiences for her humor, her frustrations, and her subtle humanity. Wickes' early life was a crucible of hardship and resilience. Born into a financially struggling household, she faced persistent ridicule for her small stature and quick-wit experiences that drove her to develop a piercing intellect and independent spirit. Professionally, she navigated Hollywood's notorious volatility, repeatedly confronting typecasting and the challenges of sustaining a career as a character actress in a studio system that prized youth and glamour. Despite these obstacles, Wickes cultivated an extensive body of work across stage, radio, film, and television, earning respect for her precision timing and professionalism. Off-screen, she remained fiercely private, never marrying, and although rumors of her sharp tongue on set circulated, she largely avoided public scandal. Her personal life was tinged with sorrow, including estrangement from family members and the isolation that sometimes accompanies long-term dedication to one's craft. Mary Wickes passed away on October 22, 1995, at age 85, due to complications following hip surgery in Los Angeles. At her death, her estate was valued at approximately $2 million, much of it donated to Washington University, reflecting her enduring generosity. Wickes' legacy is immortalized through her unforgettable character work, her influence on comedic timing and delivery, and the indelible mark she left on classic American television and film, shaping how sharp, witty, and deeply human characters are portrayed. Willard Waterman, born August 29, 1914 in Madison, Wisconsin, was 45 when he joined Dennis the Menace as Otis Quigley, the genial neighborhood grocer, in 1959. Quigley's character exuded warmth, cheer, and a genial presence, often offering comic relief and a stabilizing adult counterpoint to Dennis's impish antics, making him a beloved figure in viewers' memories. Waterman's childhood was shaped by the hardship of the interwar period in the Midwest. His father's involvement in small-scale business and the family's precarious finances instilled a work ethic and an early sense of responsibility. Though he became widely recognized for taking over as Throckmorton P. Gildersleeve on Radio Waterman, faced professional challenges, including the decline of radio drama and the struggle to transition to television, which left him navigating periods of obscurity. Off-screen Waterman was known for his advocacy work in AFTRA championing actors' rights, and his personal integrity occasionally put him at odds with studio executives, though he remained scandal-free throughout his career. His private life was remarkably stable. He was married for nearly 6 decades, though he dealt quietly with health issues and the stresses of sustaining a long career in the shifting entertainment industry. Waterman passed away on February 2, 1995, from bone marrow disease at age 80. At his death, his net worth was estimated around $1.5 million, accumulated through careful management of acting royalties, union benefits, and real estate investments. His enduring influence lies in his voice work and his role as a stalwart character actor, a figure whose professional dedication and unassuming presence contributed substantially to the texture of mid-20th century American television comedy. Charles Seel, born April 29, 1897, in the Bronx, New York, was 62 when he assumed the role of the irascible newspaper editor Mr. Crinky in Dennis the Menace in 1959, a character whose sharp temper and exasperation with Dennis's antics provided much of the show's comedic tension. Seel's early life was defined by adversity. His father's frequent absence and his mother's fragile health thrust him into premature independence, compelling him to observe and mimic human behavior, a skill that became central to his later acting career. He built a prolific career across vaudeville, radio, stage, and television, yet constantly faced the challenges of a shifting entertainment industry, including the frustrations of typecasting, repeated audition failures, and occasional tensions with directors due to his meticulous work ethic. Seel's personal life was private, with a single marriage and no children, but he bore his share of struggles, including the deaths of close friends and colleagues, minor health crises, and the pressures of maintaining relevance in a competitive field. Despite these trials, he remained a consummate professional, admired for his reliability, consistency, and depth in character roles. Charles Seel passed away on April 19, 1980, at age 82 in Los Angeles, leaving an estate valued around $600,000, a reflection of his steady yet understated career. His enduring contribution lies in his versatility and the memorable imprint he left on American television, where his work continues to exemplify the essential craft of the character actor and the enduring charm of subtle, skilled performance in classic series. Thank you for joining us on this nostalgic journey through classic television history. If you enjoyed learning about the cast of Dennis the Menace and where they are now, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe for more vintage Hollywood retrospectives, and share your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing your memories and suggestions, so let us know which TV show or movie cast you'd like us to feature next.